Rebel!
Mentor! What up?
This is so exciting.
I know.
I know it's been cool because I've got to catch up with you a little bit before we've gone live. Again, this is Diane,
Yes.
Massage Mentor. I've been a massage practitioner since 1996 and have not taken a paycheck from another business since. And I'm here live with Rebel Massage Therapist, and I couldn't be happier to be with her. And guess what we've been discussing? Know what we've been discussing? We've been discussing meeting once a month. So that we can talk and then we can answer questions from the group, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to dive in with a couple questions I have, and I think this is going to be fun because you have questions for me.
I do have questions for you. I want to hear more from you.
Okay, perfect. So my first question is how the heck did you get, seriously, I mean, it's amazing. How long have you been doing you have 181,000 followers on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube.
It's a little, on YouTube, it's a little bonkers. It's a little bonkers. And, you know, it's funny. I really don't know how I got there. I don't. I think that I would like to say that it was all, you know, I knew exactly how to market and business, and I knew what was going on, but I didn't. I think what really happened is that I just love what I do, and I put it on a screen. And I think when people, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started, but I think when you love what you do, people see that. And that's the attraction. I know for a fact that when I meet somebody who loves what they do, I may not love what they do, but I'm like, that's so cool. There's an attraction to that, you know? It's just so crystal clear. And I think you portray that very well. And I think that when you really, right, when you really love, I don't know, I love what I do, and I feel like I wanted more than anything to just get people to that same level where they're loving it as much as I do. So I don't know, maybe that was one of the elements that helped kick it into full gear.
It's amazing, and it's cool. I mean, you seriously, I'm impressed by your dedicated following. It's really very cool. It's like
I am too.
You're pumped up that you were going to along with myself. So congratulations on that. It's so. I think we were talking about the word brave too. It's so brave, you know, to keep showing up, keep being persistent. If people think that I'm like, well, I can't wait to be live on Facebook, I can't wait to post another video. I'm like sweating under my armpits when I hit post. I'm like, oh God, you know.
It is. I think that's what bravery is. I mean, I think bravery isn't being able to show up and not feel nervous. Bravery is being able to like feel all the things and just do it anyway. And then to fail, and then to fail again, and then to fail again, but keep showing up. Like keep showing up. That to me is the definition of bravery.
One of my clients said a long time ago, it was like 2003, and we were sitting in my lobby, and he said, Diane, if you see a door, you got to walk through it. That's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. If you see the doorway, you got to walk through it. And I've always remembered that. So every time I see a doorway, I'm like, I'm not walking. I'm like,
running.
I'm coming. Every time I go through it, I feel so much better. You know? For me, my most uncomfortable moments have been my most glorious moments, meaning like I've come out on the other side of that, whether I'm like a horrible breakup, you know, like an intense business thing. I always feel better once it's finally taken its course.
Yeah, it's incredibly scary. I mean, even now, like I think I have 80 some videos that I've put on my channel. And even to this day, I'll get the video all together, and there's this moment where it's like all uploaded and everything's ready to go, and I click public, and it just, there's like this, like my heart palpates, and
vulnerable. It's so
I said
horrible.
and yeah, my heart goes, like all the adrenals are going. I'm getting the, but then I think what happens, two things happen. Exactly what you just said. There's this feeling of when you push yourself into something that's uncomfortable, how that can make you open doors, make you feel alive, and make you feel a sense of purpose. I think that's huge. And then the other part of it that I find so crazy is, you know, when you look online, there's a lot of hate online. There's just a lot of hate. Like you look at the news and you look at people making comments on social media, and that's all the language around it tends to be hateful. But I have found that people are really nice, like really nice. And I think if we get scared to do anything because we're scared of the feedback from the public because we think it's going to be hateful, I just don't think that's the truth of it. I think for whatever reason, that's the feeling that's out there. But I think the truth of it is I have, like you, for instance, right? You reached out to me and have been so kind and so incredibly amazing to get to know and so helpful. And you know, that never would have happened had I never posted a video on YouTube. And those kinds of doors you run through.
It's funny, on a similar note, I just got back from the World Massage Festival. And it's funny because I was like, oh my God, there's so much going on. There was 800 people there and class after class after class. And I was like, no, oh no, I'm done. I'm done with the class. I have enough credits. I need some fresh air. And I went out to the Smoky Mountains, and I'm like, you know, climbing up the mountain, and it's too like getting outside and just seeing how big the world is. For me, just gave me that aha moment where I'm like, the world is huge and beautiful. You know, in order to like really feel that once in a while too, it's like taking the time out and really practicing what we preach too. I think you'll agree, and doing a little self-care. Walking through the door, and then also making some time to like enjoy the living room. You know, like I gotta get outside, I gotta get some mountain air, and I sometimes I get so focused, you know, I'm at this festival, I gotta, and I'm like, no, the best way for me to meet a lot of people and have a good time is to go to the mountains
and be your best.
Have a little time out.
Yeah, be your best.
Time out. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, you know, massage therapists in general know a lot about self-care. I think we do, but I think the trick is to know your own self-care. I think that can be hard because we're listening to, well, I should be out there, I should be doing this more, I should be fill in the blanks of all the shoulds. But when you can kind of stop and go, you know what, I need some mountain air, I'm going to go. That's you know, that self-awareness is huge. I think that's something that we all try to work towards every single day.
And I think it's what you just said. And when you first said, I said, how did you get 181 followers? And you said, I like doing massage. And you keep showing up, and you like massage. That's another thing. Like, all these, you need this marketing strategy, and you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And really, passion cannot be, nothing can overshadow passion and a genuine love for what we do, you know? And the more people you get your hands on, the more that just keeps growing. And I think that's the greatest marketing. For it, right?
Yeah. So we were talking about this a little bit before we went live, but like, you know, you can learn all these techniques. So the same applies not just for business, but for body work in general. We can learn all of these techniques and be the best technician out there. But if you are not enacting the deeper parts of your soul and learning on a deeper level and not really loving it and in it for the genuine purpose of this is what you love to do, you know, all that technique is out the window, and you're not, your business isn't going to grow. So, you know, all the things, all of those things, loving what you do, learning and keeping on learning, but you know, it's just keep the passion, keep the grit, all that stuff.
Fresh.
Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah. I want to know, can I ask a question?
Oh my,
I'm turning the tables.
Let's do it.
I'm turning the tables. I want to know how you started your business. I want to know, because I think there's a lot of people out there who go, you know, especially when you first graduate, or even in the first 5 years, you're kind of thinking, okay, long haul, I want to open up a business and I want to have like 5 or 10 massage therapists that I employ, and I want to have this be, do I make them independent contractors? Do I make them employees? Do I offer healthcare? Like all of those things. That's a lot. And I think the looking at climbing that mountain gets so overwhelming. I think a lot of people don't do it, but you did it. I want to know how. I want to know how.
I did. It's kind of similar to you. Right now, Freedom Massage is staffed with 10 massage therapists. Our building has been home to over 10,000 clients. We see a lot of clients every week. We're we're busy. Very rarely are we not busy. We've won 6 awards for best massage in the Philadelphia area.
So dope. That's so dope.
So cool. So it's the same thing though. It's the truth. This is why I enjoy you so much. Is the truth of the matter is that the first time I got a massage, it changed my life. I was a 19-year-old, and my dad was like, I don't know what to do with this kid. So he's like, you can either get a massage and go to this body worker, or we're sending you really get. And I got a massage, obviously.
And here you are.
And it changed my life. I didn't know until that point that I really had a body. And when I felt that non-invasive touch and I could feel the blood flowing through my body, it changed me forever.
But how did you go from having just a private practice to bringing other massage, like having the guts to take a space and go, I'm going to rent that space and hope that I can fill it not only with employees, but with clients and give these people paychecks. Like
the story is really long, right? But we'll give you a little tidbit. So how I went from, I worked out of, I used to do house calls all over the county here. We're not talking in a small radius. I would do house calls all over the place, lugging my tape on people's homes.
Wait, pause. Do you get comments, like as we're live, do you get comments?
I am.
I just want to know how many people are just doing house calls at this point, because I don't know if that's something that'll pop up immediately, but that's something we have all done. And that takes that's a lot. That's some grunt work. So kudos.
It's really hard work. So I did that for a while, and then I worked out of my home for a while. And one of my clients said to me, Diane, what are you doing? I was like, I'm massaging you, man. He's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'm and he said, it's time, sink or swim. Are you going to sink or swim? Like, are you going to work out of your house forever? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not going to be able to really grow a business out of your house. What are you going to do? And I said, by God, I'm going to swim.
Yeah.
So I started looking at offices. I was terrified. The first few places I called turned me away. It was 1996. Let's put that in mind. So massage there was not 350,000 in the country. I was also a female who never had a business. So I'm calling people. They're like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to do massage. Have you ever had a business before? No.
Look at me.
So then finally I grabbed a newspaper, right? My client said, when he said sink or swim, he said, maybe you should open a place in Paoli near the Paoli train station. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't, because I was very rebellious. I didn't want to do the Paoli. So I kept calling Westchester. So then I finally got a newspaper, and there was a place in the newspaper that said Paoli. So I called the Paoli number, and it was the first person who talked to me. I said, hi, I'm thinking, about opening a massage business. And she said, massage? The owner here loves massage. Come on down. So I said, where are you located? She said, by the Paoli train station. So I drove my car there, and I showed up, and I just did massage by myself. And a big mistake I think a lot of people make is they invest a ton of money in the building. They buy stuff. I painted, and I had a massage table. I had 2 therapy rooms, and it took me time to even get furniture in my lobby. I saw a lot of people, and then I realized it was time to hire my first therapist. But I will tell you this, people, I just want people to understand that you don't just all of a sudden become a business person.
Right.
You don't all of a sudden become a business owner. Like I am
No.
still learning every day how to manage people, how to do it well. You know, I've gone on a really long journey. Massage therapists too are very strong people, you know, and it took me a long time to learn how to be a business person. My accountant said to me from the very beginning, Diane, you are an excellent massage therapist, but you're a horrible business person. And, and I was all right with that. And I just kept asking people, talking to business people. And I was never, I think, Allison, the main thing was I was not afraid to ask for help.
That's the best. That's the best. And you put yourself in a situation where you were sinking or swimming. And you had to swim.
I was like, I am swimming. So it took a long time, long story short. And, you know, like now everything is pretty good. I mean, it's good. It still takes a lot of work, but it takes a long time to learn how to be a business owner. So my suggestion would be to anyone thinking about that is first think about it very hard because it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job. It never stops. Then I would also say to find someone who's done it before, you know, and ask them a lot of questions, hang out with them and get some really good advice because now I have it down to I was also audited by the IRS.
Oh, dang.
You know, my first year. So I know how to set everything up. But there's not many of us that know how to in the massage world because not just, you know, a lot of the franchises and stuff are already set up. So I tried to make it short, but
that was what I love about that most is the whole idea of like getting to a place where you're comfortable, but is it enough? And your client saying to you, what are you doing? You're going to sink or swim. And I feel like that's the key, that's the question. Because I think it's really easy for massage therapists to graduate and get a job somewhere and just stay in that world, or you know, go do the home visit thing and set up a practice in your house and then just kind of stay in that world. And I think those are fine, but there's so much more. And it comes down to not necessarily, you know, do you want to make a ton of money, but it comes down to, at the end of the day, do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel like you have a purpose? Do you feel like you are doing your best? And I feel like when you push yourself.
And I feel like, too, if you're going to put yourself in the role that I put myself in, right? Now, there are some people that just are not, they don't want to have their own business. They don't want the responsibility. They have kids, they have this, they have that. And two, I feel like it's our duty as people who are business owners to make sure that my massage place is the best place in the world to work. You know, like they have paid time off. They get nice breaks in between appointments. We have guest teachers. They come to see us. They come to see us. They come to see us and teach us, you know. So, you know, the responsibility too is great, you know. So I think there is a place for everyone in this work. And like you said, you just got to find what it is and make sure that you're feeling fulfilled for sure.
Yep. So, purpose at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Totally. I love that. I love that story. I mean, it's a good, you know, I've taught for years, and every time I taught in the business class, it always came down to what do you want to do? And these ideas would be these grandiose ideas, and so rarely are they put into play. And just, I love seeing when a massage therapist really opens their business and really employs, and like your website is gorgeous, and it looks like you do a lot for the community.
I love my
kudos.
I'm actually going to one of my staff members right now is at the hospital having a baby, and I'm a doula as well, and I'm going to help her out with her birth. You know, so you can have really good boundaries as a boss and still be there for your therapist. You can still be a good boss and you know, make a great place to work. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and it's the perfect place, but it was not easy to get to the place where I could be that person.
No, I love that. It's not, it's totally not easy. Never is. Right. It takes 10 years to make an overnight success.
I'm looking at, I'm breezing through one of my questions now. And one of the things that I've heard you talk about before, and I liked is how important do you think it is to really communicate with your client? You know, like, that's a big part of the session, right? The big part of the whole thing is not necessarily so much technique, but who we are. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, so there's a couple of things there's a couple places where communication is really important. Number one, when your client walks in the door and really not only communicating kind of who you are and what's going on, but the communication is flipped where you're really listening and then repeating back to them what they say. I think that's something you need to do. We all need to do. I mean, we need to do it just period. Like when we're talking to anybody who's talking about anything, because it just makes somebody feel heard. But then when a client is on the table, this is the thing that I actually get this question a lot, and I feel like there's two ways to go about this. When a client is on the table, there is the whole idea, which is not me, but there's the whole idea that relaxation is the beginning of all healing, which I love, and it's important. But when a client zones out, I'm not able to really communicate with them. And the way that I operate, my whole MO is when I've got a client on the table and I'm, working on their calves, and I'm saying to them, look, I want to work around to the front of the shin too, because this is going to work in opposition to the muscles that are hurting you. And I want to get down into the foot because all of these tissues come down and connect in here. So like, I'm going to have you fire this really quickly and you can feel this. And I go through all of this stuff. I repeatedly see over and over again that the client will get up off the table and have this sense of like, I never even knew that about myself. And now when I put these shoes on or when I walk around or when I drive or whatever it is, there's that deeper sense of understanding themselves, which like we were talking about before, self-awareness is so hard to get to. And I think when you can help a client get to understand their own anatomy, the self-awareness around what they're doing every day to create a dysfunction becomes so much more clear, and pulling that wool off of their eyes is, I would argue, more probably like 80% of our job. I feel like that's kind of my whole MO. So I think that when we're taught in school, there's a couple classes I think where you're taught in school, like don't talk to your client, or make sure that if they're falling asleep, let them fall asleep, and that's fine. But one of the things that I do when I see a new client, especially, is I'll say, look, just so you know, this is who I am and this is how I operate. So if you want to fall asleep on the table, I have a whole bunch of people that I can recommend you to, but it's not me. So communication to me is about gaining a bigger sense of self-awareness for the client and for myself, and keeping that at a focal point for the whole session.
Nice.
That's my answer.
Good answer. Good answer. I like it.
Yeah. What do you do? Are you like, okay, so I'm going to flip this again. How do you communicate with your employees? Because I think that's similar, right? Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know.
I could honestly say at this point in my career, I would have any one of them sit with us. And I think they would probably kind of describe me in a similar way. I really try to show up for them, and how I communicate with them is I do my best, to listen and make myself available when I can. And I try to encourage them to put themselves out there a little bit. Someone was asking me about my interview process and letting me know that maybe there was some things that I could do differently. And I said, guess what? Yeah. Guess who's sitting in the next interview? So she's sitting in with me on Wednesday through the interview process, and she's going to get the interview. So for me, I think it's empowering my employees is the best way to communicate. It's through action. It's through when they give me suggestions that they see them done kind of quickly. The whole entire business really has been built on me hearing them.
Yeah.
So I think that I listen best. My way of showing them I'm listening is through action.
Yeah. Yes. So similar, right? I mean, similar. And
similar. Actually, yeah.
Right? Similar. I just think that people want to be heard, and myself included. We all want to be heard, right? And so when you can help somebody feel like they're heard, they're going to stay with you. Client, employee, all of it. I think that's huge, right?
Yeah, they definitely. I feel like everyone here definitely knows that they're cared for, and I would even go as far as loved. And they're important to me. That's how I think works best. And your website
shows that.
We have a policy too that if they can always, we call it a closed door section. Where if they really need me on a deeper level, that they know that they have to come in and close the door, and
Perfect.
that will really get me fully engaged, so I can.
Perfect. Yeah, same thing, man. I mean, you want to feel safe with what you're telling somebody. So a client walks in and they're telling you something big. They want to feel safe.
And
they don't feel safe out the window. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Where are we at here? Yeah. This is intense.
I think the thing that I keep coming back to though is this when we talk about this kind of stuff, it can get really deep and it can get really like we can philosophize about this stuff all day long. But I think when you are really out there acting it, there's always going to be people who want to kind of knock you down. And I think that can get overwhelming and it can make people feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm not doing something right, or maybe I need to talk differently or whatever it is. But I think if you are really in it and genuinely in it, like I feel like you are, Diane, and like I feel like I am, I think there's just, that's the thing that's going to carry through. I think that's the thing I'm trying to say. Like if you're kind of faking it and then something comes along and bumps you off the trail, you're going to get thrown off the trail. But if you're in it, you get back on and you keep going. And I think that's what's going to hold people through. I think that's what's going to hold you through for the long haul, for sure.
And I think what you're saying too, if I'm hearing you correctly too, is something my dad said. He said, the more you know, the less you grow. It's a certain amount of humility, and just realizing that it's an ongoing growth process. What like might be good for someone one day might not be good for them the next day. And just realizing that I don't have all the answers, and as someone's coming to me, they might have an answer. And if I'm not open to that, then I'm going to miss my answer. I might have to go a way longer way around to find it. And
Oh, so, totally.
I always get a little nervous when people are like, I know this, I know that, I know. I'm like,
yeah, red flag. Totally red flag for me. Totally red flag. Yeah. I get really kind of like, the more that shows up. I mean, I'm with you. I'm just agreeing on that one. The more that shows up for me, the more I'm like,
So how about we do one more, and then we'll be back next month.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. I like this one. What is your hope for your clients? What is your like?
What is my hope for my clients?
Yeah, what do you hope for them?
I mean, above and beyond the normal, like hoping that they heal and work through whatever their dysfunction is. My hope is always that we gain a sense of self-awareness that involves peace. I mean, that's always my hope. You know what I mean?
I like that. Peace is a really powerful word for me. Yeah.
It's a powerful word, because I think so I'm going to get a little vulnerable here, but I definitely had many years of my life, my younger teenage angsty years and 20s, where I was struggling with trying to figure out who I was. And I remember feeling like, well, I know that I am stubborn, and I know that so is embracing who I am. Do I embrace being stubborn? Like, that felt contradictory to me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how to kind of wrap my head around embracing a part of myself, which I wasn't necessarily proud of. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it makes sense.
I think, so I think that, I think when I apply this to what I want for my clients, I think a lot of clients will ask me, okay, so here's a good example. I think a lot of clients do this. I think a lot of massage therapists get this question. How's my back? Does it feel like, is it totally messed up? And I always I'm like, yeah, everybody wants to hear how messed up their back is. But I also feel like the truth of it is, if I'm feeling something and your back feels maybe like it's asymmetrical, or you've got winged scapula, or you've got scoliosis, or whatever it is, but you're not in pain, then you're fine. Then you're fine. And I think that's kind of what I want on a deeper level for my clients and for myself, is this sense of like, I know who I am, and I want to embrace who I am in what works for me, works for the world, and works for my relationships. And I think that's what I, when I look at what I want for my clients, I want my clients to feel like their body is comfortable. And I think that's a hard thing to find.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deep question.
I like that one. No, but you did. Yeah, I mean, that was very nice. Very nice.
Why not?
I think it was good. I think it was very good. Yeah.
Do you have an answer to that one?
It's funny because I think you really touched upon some really cool stuff, because I was thinking as you were saying that, I used to be heavier, and I remember I would like work out like a maniac and like, and I couldn't seem to lose the weight. And and to a degree, a part of it too was I couldn't seem to be honest with myself, and part of it was, I feel like I was carrying around a lot of what Ohashi calls, emotional water weight. Like I was just like a big ball of stuff, that I hadn't worked through, I hadn't processed, and I just, as I when it really started to shift for me, and I would lose weight, and I'd be like, oh my God, like people are looking at me. I was like,
right. Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
So I got to a point though where I was like, I had to accept myself exactly like I was right then. And even now, like I have to do once in a while. I just like, this is where I am right now, and if I really want to change, how I feel or how I look, then I have to take the steps to do that. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but every day of my life. I have to make it a ritual for myself. And
right.
If I don't want to do that, that's next too. But then I'm gonna have to just be okay with not doing that.
Right. And you're the only one who can be happy with it. Like you can't do it for anybody else.
No.
You can't do it for anybody else.
It's so interesting to watch myself as I'm 47, just to watch all the different things that I've tried with my own body. So I think like what you're saying too is I just have a lot more compassion for my clients, and I'm willing to meet them where they're at instead of. I find if I try to push people, or people try to push me, or tell me,
right. Bye. Totally.
So like with clients, I try to meet them where they're at, and just gently encourage them that there is way more that they could do if they decided to do it. Not even saying that, like it's not none of my business what's good, what's to a degree. So my hook for my clients is the same. I really like what you said, and I'm just going to repeat it. It's self-awareness and peace, because for me that's the biggest reward of my whole life. Is finally having more self-awareness. And that means I'm able to communicate, be intimate, make myself vulnerable. And then the peace part is after I do that, I'm like, oh God. Like for like 5 minutes, I got to give myself a little bit, but I'm not like a skipping record, like I say, or a constant skipping of, did I say the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Right. I mean, I said it, and it's like the old song, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So true. I mean, I feel like your next book should be the deeper life lessons that you learn as a massage therapist.
That's the thing too. If you're signing up as a massage therapist and you think that you're going to get through this career without really looking at yourself, it's hard to do.
No.
I mean, I'm sure you're out there. But so thank you for holding up my book. I'm glad you have it.
Yes, for anybody who has not read it, it's just a really good. It's got everything, all the basics in here. This is like the founding blocks of who we are and what we do. I love it. So, go get it.
You know what I love? I love talking with you, Rebel.
I love it too, mentor.
I'm so excited. So what we'll do for everybody is we're going to pick a day and time that we'll try to meet, monthly, and, we'll gather some questions and we'll roll some things around. I feel like I could do this all day, but I have a birth to get to.
Oh yeah. That's kind of
there's a baby coming.
That's a little exciting. I know. I'm excited for you. That'll be amazing.
So we're if do you have any last words you would like to share with the group?
Be you. Do you. Be the awesomest you that you can.
That's right. And we don't have to really worry about, having last words, because we're going to have more words in a few weeks.
More words. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
So everybody keep hanging on out there. And Rebel, if you would just stay with me for a minute.
I'm with you.
We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye.
So much fun. Everybody have a great day. Keep it on.